The diplomatic reception aboard the Kepler 442b orbital station was supposed to be a routine cultural exchange. Ambassador Lisa Martinez adjusted her formal uniform as she watched the Zephyrian delegation file into the main hall, their crystalline exoskeletons catching the artificial light in prismatic patterns. Marcus Chen, the station's head chef and cultural liaison, stood beside an elaborate buffet table he'd spent weeks preparing. "Remember," he whispered to Lisa, "the Zephyrians consider sharing food the highest form of diplomacy. Whatever they offer us, we have to at least try it." Lisa nodded, having studied the briefings extensively. First contact protocols were delicate, enough without accidentally insulting their hosts through dietary customs. The Zephyrian ambassador, Krixtal Vorthak, approached with what Lisa had learned to recognize as their species' equivalent of a welcoming gesture, a series of harmonic chimes emanating from their throat chambers. "Honored humans," Krixtal spoke through their universal translator, "we are pleased to share our ceremonial foods with your delegation. We have prepared something special." Dr. Elena Vasquez, the station's xenobiologist, stepped forward with scientific curiosity gleaming in her eyes. "We're honored by your hospitality, Ambassador Krixtal." The Zephyrian delegation exchanged what appeared to be amused glances, though reading their expressions was still challenging for humans. One of them, a younger diplomat named Zephrok, produced a small innocent-looking red seed pod. "This is a delicacy from our homeworld," Zephrok announced with barely concealed mirth. "We call it burning star fruit. It's quite intense. Perhaps too much for human palates." Marcus examined the seed pod with professional interest. It looked remarkably similar to a Carolina Reaper pepper from Earth, though it pulsed with an odd bioluminescence. "We understand if you prefer to decline," Krixtal added, the harmonic undertones of their voice suggesting suppressed laughter. "Even among our people, consuming burning star fruit is considered an extreme test of endurance." Lisa caught the subtle challenge in the ambassador's tone. She'd read enough about Zephyrian culture to understand this was likely some sort of initiation ritual, possibly even a prank played on unsuspecting alien diplomats. "We'd be honored to try your delicacy," Lisa replied diplomatically. The Zephyrian delegation practically vibrated with anticipation as Marcus carefully divided the seed pod among the three humans. Elena raised an eyebrow at Lisa, who simply nodded. They had their orders and their dignity to maintain. "To interspecies friendship," Lisa announced, and all three humans consumed their portions simultaneously. The effect was immediate. The burning star fruit didn't just create heat. It seemed to ignite every nerve ending in their mouths with what felt like liquid fire. Elena's eyes watered instantly, and Marcus made a small choking sound. But Lisa had grown up in New Mexico, raised on her grandmother's legendary salsa verde. Elena had spent summers in Thailand researching local cuisines. Marcus had trained in Sichuan cooking techniques. And all three were human beings, descendants of a species that had domesticated plants specifically to make their food burn. After the initial shock passed, Lisa found herself enjoying it. The heat was intense, certainly, but it had complex flavor notes underneath, something like cinnamon mixed with starlight if starlight had a taste. "This is delicious," she said genuinely, reaching for another piece. "Could we possibly have more?" The Zephyrian delegation fell silent. Their crystalline structure shifted colors rapidly, what Elena recognized as their equivalent of shocked surprise. "More?" Krixtal repeated faintly. Marcus was already pulling out his tablet, frantically taking notes. "The flavor profile is incredible. There's an initial capsaicin-like compound, but then it develops these fruity notes with what might be natural umami enhancers. Elena, are you getting the slight metallic finish? That might indicate mineral absorption from their soil composition." "Absolutely fascinating," Elena agreed, her scientific excitement overriding the lingering burn. "The bioluminescence suggests some form of active chemical compound. This could revolutionize our understanding of extremophile plant biology." Zephrok made a sound that the translator couldn't interpret, possibly choking. You want more burning star fruit? If it's not too much trouble, Lisa said politely. It's quite good. Though I have to ask, do you have anything spicier? The question seemed to break something in the Zephyrian delegation's composure. Krixtal's harmonic chimes became rapid and high-pitched, while several other delegates began what appeared to be frantic communication in their native tongue. Spicier? Krixtal finally managed. Honored humans, the burning star fruit is our most extreme consumable. Our warriors use it as a test of endurance before battle. Our chefs wear protective equipment when preparing it. And you want something stronger? Marcus was already pulling ingredients from his own supplies. Actually, if you'd like, I brought some Carolina Reapers from Earth. They're about 2.2 million Scoville units. We could do a comparison tasting. The color patterns on the Zephyrian exoskeletons shifted to what Elena was beginning to recognize as abject terror. You regularly consume substances rated at 2.2 million pain units? Zephrok asked weakly. Well, not regularly, Lisa admitted. That's more of a weekend activity. For everyday cooking, we usually stick to jalapenos or serranos, maybe habaneros if we're feeling adventurous. Dr. Vasquez pulled up her research files on her tablet. Actually, humans have been selectively breeding plants for increased capsaicin content for thousands of years. We have a saying, pain is just flavor leaving the body, though I think we might have that backwards. The Zephyrians huddled together in rapid conference. Finally, Krixtal approached the humans again, their harmonic tones now carrying what sounded suspiciously like reverence. Honored humans, the ambassador said formally, we believe we may have underestimated your species' capabilities. We would very much like to learn more about your food culture. Marcus grinned, already mentally planning a full-course meal that would properly introduce their new allies to human cuisine. Well, if you think this is impressive, wait until you try ghost pepper ice cream. The sound that emerged from the Zephyrian delegation was definitely not translatable, but Lisa was pretty sure it was some variation of, oh no, what have we gotten ourselves into? As the cultural exchange continued into the evening, with increasingly bewildered aliens sampling human spicy foods with a mixture of horror and fascination, Lisa reflected on how humanity's strangest traits often turned out to be their greatest diplomatic assets. After all, any species that voluntarily consumed chemical weapons for fun was probably not one you wanted to underestimate in other areas either. The next morning, the first official request came through diplomatic channels. Would Earth be willing to share their agricultural techniques for defensive food cultivation? Humanity had just gained their first alien allies through the power of competitive eating, and Lisa couldn't help but laugh at how perfectly absurd that was.